Hey guys, if you came over here from my other channel after you watched part 1, thank you so much for coming over here. This video is going to be a continuation of part 1 of my rabbit Q&A question with you guys. The first half of this, if you're just stumbling onto this video and haven't seen the first one, is over on my main beauty channel. So that is linked in the description box below. I suggest you start there if you haven't seen that yet. But here is the continuation of my super long rabbit Q&A video. Hopefully it's helpful for you guys. Enjoy. Favorite toys somebody asked me about, that will be linked in my blog. Like I mentioned in the beginning, a lot of like little kid toys they absolutely love, like stackable cups and things like that. They like typically don't like any of the normal rabbit toys from the grocery store. Not the grocery store, the pet store, or the ones that I buy online. I've spent like a fortune on them and they don't care for them. They just want to chew on stuff that's not meant for them to chew on. So yeah, be prepared for that. Rabbits definitely do, I mean, each rabbit has their own little quirks and little things that they like, just like humans. So some rabbits like won't chew on baseboards at all. Brixton loves to chew on baseboards. He pooped glitter all last Christmas because he wouldn't stop eating my fake tree. I kept trying to keep him away from it. He wasn't having it. He wanted that glitter. So, and he also loves to like pull up the loops in carpet, like any area rugs he's absolutely destroyed. The one in the garage right now used to be in our living room and he totally claimed it as his own. So my thoughts on that are that if you can't handle your rabbit at its worst when it's like chewing things up, and you know, figure out a constructive way to redirect them and or just deal with it, then I really don't feel like you have any business having a rabbit, because you have it for the wrong reasons if you only want the rabbit when it's doing great. I find that a lot with people, like they give up their pets and stuff because they didn't fully educate themselves on the animal, and then, you know, they got it and it's a lot more work, which I understand can be very overwhelming. But that's not fair to the animal. Like, the animal is an animal. They're innocent. They, you know, so just definitely educate yourself on those things and just beware that they can destroy stuff. They can chew on your furniture. They will chew on shoes if you leave them down. Brixton's ruined bags of mine, and you know, it's annoying, but it just comes with the territory. So just make sure that you're prepared for those things and put yourself in that situation and think to yourself, would that make me want to get rid of the animal if that happened? If the answer is yes, then I think that you should probably rethink the pet that's gonna work for you. Nails and teeth. So rabbits' nails and teeth grow absolutely crazy. The bottom teeth here on a rabbit can actually grow all the way up. I've seen them grow all the way up. If your rabbit's teeth are protruding out of its mouth, there is a problem. You need to go to the vet and have them clipped. They do clip them. I don't know how they do that. I don't know if they sand it down or actually clip them. I've never seen it. They always take them in the back when they do that. But you can also get the nails clipped at the vet as well. It's good to do that if you're not comfortable with it, because they can pull their arm away and really hurt themselves. So you gotta be careful with that. Brixton's nails actually need to be trimmed right now. I just need to get Ryan to hold him so I can do it. But they will also flip them on their back to do their nails, because that kind of puts them in a weird state where they are almost like, not meditating, where they're like almost in a trance kind of deal. So that's usually what the vets will do so that the rabbits don't get hurt while they're doing that. But if the teeth are growing that long, chances are you're not giving your rabbit enough things to chew on. They need more rabbit toys. They need more things to use their teeth on so that they wear them down. Because naturally in the wild, rabbits don't have that problem unless there is something wrong with them. So they use their teeth a lot. They have very, very, very strong jaws. They can literally like bite through anything. So, and with that being said, on biting, Brixton has never bit me ever. He has nipped at me when I'm not paying attention to him. He hasn't done that in a really long time, but they will do that. My rabbits have absolutely never bitten me. Someone was asking me about vaccines for a rabbit. First of all, before you get a rabbit, make sure that you have a vet in mind, because rabbits are considered an exotic animal. I'm not really sure why, because I feel like they're quite common, but not every vet will look at a rabbit or is knowledgeable on rabbits. So you want to make sure that you have an exotic pet that you're ready to go to should there be any issues that arise or anything of the sort, so you have somewhere to go for emergencies and you're not just stuck with a sick animal that you don't know what to do with. And vaccines, basically, like, when I got Brixton, they asked me if he was gonna be living outside, because a lot of people keep their rabbits outside, which I don't necessarily agree with unless it stays pretty warm outside, but that's neither here nor there. That's just my opinion. he asked me if I was gonna keep him outside, and I told him that I would not be keeping him outside, but the reason why he was asking was because there are vaccines for specific parasites and insects that can affect your rabbit if they are living outside, and that's pretty much the only one that I'm really aware of. I don't think there's really any other vaccines for rabbits. I know that KRISTEN has had a couple of shots, and I honestly don't remember what those are. So, and I did a lot of research on it too, and I can't really seem to find a whole lot. And now since we've moved, I do need to take them in for a checkup. So maybe I can expand on that once I speak to the new vet. Baths. Do rabbits need baths? No, they do not. Rabbits are very clean animals. You do not need to give a rabbit a bath, just like you don't need to give a hamster a bath. Every now and then a rabbit, if it is sick or it's got, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Every now and then, if you switch a rabbit's diet or something, they can get a little bit of diarrhea and they can get a poopy butt. Then what you would wanna do is just get like a clean litter box sort of pan, like even a cat box will work that's totally clean. Put a towel on the bottom, fill it up with about this much lukewarm water, and you can splash it on their butt, hold the front feet up and just splash it on their butt and use your hands to get it off there. You can put a glove on if you're not comfortable, but that's pretty much like the extent of it. Rabbits are pretty clean animals. They do a lot of self-grooming. You don't really need to give them a bath. It mostly just freaks them out. They don't like to be held too much for the most part. They're worried about balance and they can kick you and scratch you, so be really careful picking up rabbits. When you do pick them up, you wanna put your hand under their front paws and then stabilize their back feet with your other hand and hold them close to you like this. If you don't do that and you just try and pick them up like this and their back feet are dangling, they're gonna kick you, they're gonna be scared, you could hurt them, so just be really careful. Someone asked me how many rabbits, how many babies rabbits will generally have. Typically speaking, it's literally from 1 to 14, so let's just say on average about 6. I feel like this video is like so freaking long, but it's like a lot of information. You guys asked for it. Okay, so someone asked about putting rabbits on their backs. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my paper. I just wanna make sure I've got it here. So basically, when you put a rabbit on its back, you see all those videos on Instagram and people are freaking out in the comments like, that's not good for the rabbit, that's not good for the rabbit. They are right for the most part, and it's not physically harming them when they're in that state. It's almost like a little they're in like a little bunny trance and they're like relaxed. The problem with it is that when they come out of it, they get startled and they can have a heart attack and die. Rabbits are prone to having they have fast heartbeats, so they're prone to heart attacks. So you gotta be really careful with that sort of thing because you can scare them. KRISTEN, when I've done it to cut his nails, he doesn't really go into one, like only for like a minute, and then he's out of it and trying to get away. So I don't do it for fun. Like if you're cutting their nails or something, that's one thing, but don't just like put them on their back because you think it's cute. They don't like it. It's not great for them. You could startle your rabbit and potentially harm it. So just be aware of that. Someone said my rabbit needs to gain weight. Well, re-listen to the part about the food that I feed my rabbits. They are both very healthy. They're not overweight. So I think it sounds like you need to find your rabbit food that it enjoys eating and things that it would eat out in the wild, which are, you know, the kale, the veggies, the carrots. Carrots are high in carbs, which turns into sugar, so make sure you don't do too many of those. But those are the things you're gonna wanna feed your rabbit. Make sure they have hay. Hay is like a large part of a rabbit's diet, a very, very large chunk of it. So make sure you always have fresh hay. If you see hay in there and it's been there for days, take it out and put new hay in there because it does get stale and they eventually won't eat it. So you just gotta keep putting new hay on there. Someone asked if rabbits get along with cats. This is kind of like one of those things, it's a case by case basis. Like that's kind of like asking if a dog gets along with cats. Well, you just have to figure out if that dog actually likes to be around cats and vice versa. So I think it's easier when they're a baby, but I think that for the most part, cats and rabbits get along pretty well because an adult rabbit can be the same size as a cat. So they could actually play together. It could work out really well, but it may not. Maybe your cat absolutely does not want anything to do with a rabbit, or maybe they're gonna torment the rabbit. So you just kind of have to put them together in a supervised situation and kind of just be hands-on and see how it goes. Somebody asked if like females or males. I, for the most part, only have male Pets, I find that they're a little more docile and a little more calm, except for Leo. Don't tell him I said that, but he's a little high strung, just a little bit. Female rabbits can tend to be a little bit more bitchy. That's just kind of how it is, generally speaking. So I prefer male rabbits personally. Trixie's great, but she's a little bitchy. She's a little bit of a diva. Litter training. Okay, so rabbits pretty much litter train themselves, to be honest. I never told, like he can understand what I'm saying. Get it together, Kristen. I pretty much never taught Brixton how to be litter trained. I just put the litter box in there with the pellets, put the hay near it, and he just did his thing, and he learned that's where I go to the bathroom. Every now and then there are pellets around the garage where he is. He doesn't ever pee outside of his cage though. He has been like peeing and using in his entire cage that he has free range in and out of, like the whole thing. So I just filled the whole thing with pellets. He used to just use his litter box. Now he uses the whole cage. So that's how it goes. But for the most part, you can just put the rabbit's poop in the area and they'll get it. Like they're pretty intelligent animals. Rabbits are actually as smart as a 3-year-old child. So think about that. If you have a child when your child was 3, or maybe they're 3 right now, that's as intelligent as a rabbit is for the most part, generally speaking. So they're pretty intelligent creatures and they will absolutely figure it out. I also have this really cool thing that like is a litter box, and it has food and water area and then a hay feeder attached to it. I got it on Etsy. Somebody hand makes them. They're really cool. So I'll link that in the description box too. I'll see if I can add that to the blog post, but it's a super cool thing. Trixie has that in her area. She absolutely loves it. Anytime I walk in there, she's sitting in there pooping and eating hay and just having a grand old time. Just living her best life. Someone said, my rabbit isn't as active as Brixie. What should I do? I'm curious if they did they used to be active and now they're not? Generally, if that's happening, there's probably something wrong, whether your rabbit has a urinary tract infection or something like that. I would say that I would look at the diet and see what you're feeding them. Are they getting enough energy? Are you giving them enough hay? Are they drinking water? Some rabbits will drink water out of a bowl like this, and some want the one that like sticks to the cage. So just kind of gotta like see what they're drinking and make sure they have fresh water every single day. You wanna change that as often as possible, at least once a day. I mean, all rabbits are like completely different and they all have different personalities and different energy levels, but if it's like out of the norm, then I would, and they're being like lethargic and stuff, I would definitely take your rabbit to the vet for a checkup just to see what could possibly be the issue, but diet could also be something you want to look at. Do rabbits make noise at night? They are most active like at twilight. They can see the best when it's like dusk or early morning without having the harsh light. They can just see a lot better that way. So I actually have a night light in my rabbit's area just so that it kind of gives that light, low light effect for them during the night so they can kind of do their thing, run around. They aren't super loud, but like he will, like you heard, I don't know if you guys could hear it, but he was picking up his bowl and moving it around. It's a glass thing that I put their salads in, and he was basically saying, bitch, give me a salad. So they can make noise. They do throw toys around. They do run around, but they don't like verbally, like they don't make any noise really. The only time a rabbit will make noise is if they're stomping on the ground, if they're annoyed with you. They will do that if you move their furniture around. Rabbits don't really like their furniture being moved around. They'll like stomp their foot, like thumper, on the ground when they're not super happy with what's going on, or maybe they're anxious or annoyed. And then they will make noise if they're in extreme pain or danger. Trixie actually got her face stuck in the exercise pin at one point. I had absolutely no idea that was going to happen, but she learned her lesson. She's never done it again because I've been monitoring it, but she got her face stuck in between the bars and she squealed so loud. I heard her from all the way across the house, and I ran in there and I helped her. But for the most part, you don't really hear, like my rabbit sounds kind of like when you pet him, like when he's enjoying it, he kind of sounds like a little pig, like he's like winking a little bit, but you really don't hear rabbits. They don't make a whole lot of noise. But with that being said, like if you're talking about having your rabbit in your bedroom, I personally would not ever be able to have my rabbit in my room with me because even the licking my dog does will wake me up, and then I've got to put him in his kennel. So I'm just a super light sleeper. I wouldn't sleep through that. So it wouldn't work out for me to have my rabbit in my room. So if you're a pretty light sleeper too, and you're thinking about keeping your rabbit in your room, I would say that wouldn't be a great idea, because especially if they're in a small cage all night long and not able to run around and have more space, I think they would definitely make more noise. Do rabbits show affection? This is kind of an interesting one because like yes and no. It's more so not, it's not really like, I mean, it is affection. So I have researched the absolute shit out of rabbits licking because Brixton will lick like crazy. Trixie will not lick me at all. People sometimes think that rabbits lick for salt, but that's really not the case. Your skin's not that salty. I mean, unless you're just at the gym sweating or swimming in the ocean. They actually do it as a way of showing that they like you and that you are a part of their pack and their family. So it is an endearing gesture. It is super cute when he will lick my jean, but he'll also lick a screen. Like he'll literally sit there and lick a screen for 5 minutes. So it's kind of a tricky one. I kind of go back and forth. I'm like, is he really doing it because he's like being affectionate or whatever? And then he's also super demanding. Like if I'm sitting there and I'm not petting him and he wants to be pet, he will take his nose and he'll nuzzle my hand and force me to pet him. So they're just kind of like needy little creatures. They want attention, and he will get really excited when I come in the room because I think he knows that I'm gonna bring him a salad. He'll start popcorning around, and it's when they jump in the air and like kick their back feet, and it's a sign of happiness and they're excited. So that is super cute. I like just live for that. Like when he does that and when Trixie does that, I just love it. It's just so adorable. So, I mean, yes and no on that question. They do show affection, and then they kind of also don't. Some rabbits really would rather be mostly left alone. Maybe a couple pets here and there, but you just have to see what your rabbit likes. And that's pretty much the end of the video. I hope I covered as much as possible. I feel like this was really long. So if you sat through all of that, then thank you so much for listening and learning about rabbits with me. I really appreciate it. And let me know what kind of pets you have in the comments below. I love to hear and I love to see. So send me pictures of your pets on Twitter. I absolutely love to stalk your guys' pets and see what you guys are up to. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my new pet channel. And as always, we will see you in the next video. Bye guys.